Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. It gives me great pleasure welcoming you all to today's session. Before we talk about today's session, I'd just like to give you a quick background about NICE for those of you who have joined for the first time. Network for Indian Cultural Enterprises has launched its first edition of Aarohana. It's a 3-month program to help people like you and me to think about how can they build business, think about being an entrepreneur, build businesses. Over the last weeks, we had 2 sessions. The first session was inaugurated by Sanjay Anandram on the entrepreneurial mindset. That session gave us an immense learning into how can we build convictions to build business and sway through different opportunities and challenges we come across while building business. Followed by which we had an exciting session on understanding consumer behaviors by Asha Ganeshan. That session gave us a very detailed view on how should we really understand our customers, think about target segmentation, analysis of consumer behaviors, and then address their needs. Followed by which, isn't it a great segue to understand how should we start building businesses, isn't it? So that's the session going to be today. Before I talk about that, some housekeeping tips. All the participants are going to be on mute. So I would request you all to drop in all your question and answer that you would see at the question and Q&A bar beneath your screen, so underneath the Zoom tab. And the session would start with about 40-45 minutes of presentation by today's expert, followed by which there will be a Q&A, and I will be picking up the questions and we'll ask the speaker to answer it. And I would request you all to restrict the question to today's topic. In case you have more questions on NICE and Aarohana, please feel free to write to us at aarohana@nice.org. We'll be happy to respond to you. Post this session, we'll also be sending you a feedback form. It'll be great if you could respond to it so that it helps us improve the way we continue delivering sessions. And apart from this, the one last session before I welcome Manish, the session is also going live on Facebook. You could spread the word and also ask your friends to subscribe to our social media handles to learn about how to build businesses. On that note, it gives me a great pleasure welcoming Manish Sharma, the co-founder of Printo. Manish is a veteran in the ecosystem and has built a great business, Printo as a business. And he's going to be presenting to us about what should we think about business plan, how should we build a business plan, and then give us some exciting best practices that he has come across in his life in his current avatar. With that, I would welcome Manish to take over.
Hey. Thanks to everyone at NICE. Thanks for this. And if I could switch on the presentation, please, or would you like me to share it? Yeah. While this is loading up and before I get to share this, now let me just say thanks to everyone. I know when Sanjay gave me a call about Aarohana, right, and I was right away quite interested in the concept. I'd not heard about this before. I'd heard a lot about different entrepreneurial journeys and different entrepreneurial programs, but one which focused on cultural entrepreneurship was quite fascinating. And a lot of my customers at both at Printo and Canberra, that's another brand that we own, are creative professionals. Those who are either graphic designers or those who are photographers, or creative in many, those who are bakers, who are creative in many, many more ways. So small businesses are very close to my heart because that's what we work closely with. So thanks for having me on here. I'm going to start sharing the screen right away. Here it is. Okay. Let's see. Can you guys see this? I'll need one organizer to give me a heads up, and I could start.
Yes, Manish, we can.
Great. Fantastic. Good. So let me jump into presentation mode and start off with what we're going to talk about. So I was going to suggest that we do this as a, as a 20-minute thing. So I'll start off my a 25-minute timer and see if we can go through slides quickly. And while this is not interactive, right, we will try our best to have more questions. And I encourage you to start writing down your questions. But what I really encourage you to do is see if you can do this plan side by side with me, right? So it's a small concept which a lot of people know. I just try to maybe put a formal structure to it called the paper napkin plan process, right? And see if you can do this along with me. And you don't need a paper napkin, but this is something which might be fun and might make you think of a few questions. And we'll spend a good 25-30 minutes on those questions and answers, right? Which is where the real learning will come. So the first 25 minutes is going to be just a sometimes boring yarn. So bear with me. So a lot of you may have heard about a paper napkin plan. A lot have not heard about it. It's just it's something which we call the back of the envelope plan. And I thought this might be a good way to start a business plan. All the businesses I have run, and including businesses which I have ruined, started on a paper napkin or a piece of paper. In fact, a lot of things about Printo were done on a paper napkin. And of course, on my favorite piece is a A4 sheet of paper, which I always keep in my pocket, and I start scribbling on it. So I always carry a diary, and I feel a paper napkin gives you the right size to focus on really what matters. Right? So when it comes to the word business plan, right, and I think there are a couple of tricks that I employ, right, and I use to make this easy. And that's what I want to share with you today. And they're very simple tricks. Okay. So the first trick is that I imagine it as a fun journey. Right? It might sound however boring or however exciting. I try to imagine this as a fun journey. So let me take an example. Let's say we are going for a picnic, or a short holiday. I'm right now in Goa. Right, so it is a 4-day holiday for me. But let's say we are going just for a small picnic to outskirts of whichever town we are staying in. If it's in Bombay, we're going to Khandala. If it's in Bangalore, we might be going to Wandala, Chennai to Mahabalipuram, and a couple of hours out. So what are the things that we think through when we go for any small event? Right? We ask simple questions that which are kind of straightforward questions, right? And very regular questions. Okay, when are we going? When are we leaving tomorrow morning? Will we spend a whole day? Will it be a couple of days? Do we have to take some money along with us? Very straightforward questions which we were taught in school from our first picnic itself, right? And perhaps at home, or what do we need to go for a picnic? Do we need to wear a certain type of attire? Are we going on the beach? Are we going to carry food with us? When we bring the same thinking to business, these questions become stupid questions, so-called stupid questions. And I love stupid questions, because stupid questions really make people uncomfortable, make you yourself uncomfortable, right? And and just the simplest questions make us really think about the real issues behind, right? So what are the stupid questions? All of us know about them. What? Hey, what are you doing? I'm going for a picnic. Okay. Where are you going? So where are you going with this, right? You think of business, where are you going? You're going, I'm going to Goa, 2 days. Okay. And then our favorite question, a lot of us in India love to ask that, kyun ja rahe ho? Ya ke, sukam jao jo tame, right? So why do you want to do this business, right? And another stupid question, we're going to hang on to this. And then how, right? How will you go there? There is another one which is related to how, which is down on my screen, doesn't show up, is how much, right? And how much money will it take? How much money will you make, right? Very simple 5, 6 questions, right? And a lot of times in school, when I realized that when my seniors couldn't answer some of the questions, or sometimes when the teachers couldn't answer some of the questions, they said, what a stupid question is that, right? And I was always a backbencher. So I was that irritating person who asked stupid questions, not because I was very smart, but I just liked asking stupid questions to irritate the professor. But over a period of time, I found these stupid questions to be extremely valuable. And this whole concept of business being a very serious thing is pretty silly, right? It's just another activity we do and another creative activity we do. So we don't have to, wrap it up in big terms and big terminology. And what works for me is to keep it simple. So these are the simple 2 tricks. Imagine we're doing some fun activity, simple activity, and ask stupid questions. And we're ready for our business plan. So all of those who are in a rush and who have to go out for a Friday evening beer, this is a good time to leave because you know all that there is to know. Right? But some of those who are more committed can stay on and bring out a piece of paper. Right? So I was working on this day before. I said, hey, this is a creative bunch. What do I do? So I was looking around my Goa house for a paper napkin. I couldn't find one. I found this one, and I took a photograph on my table. I'm going to talk a bit more about the paper napkin plan. But before you dismiss the paper napkin plan, what stupidity is this? This is not serious enough. Let me tell you the pedigree of this technique, which means that lots of people have used it, right? And if you do a bit of research, read a bit, you'll have lots of businessmen, small businesses started off. Printo, I yet consider a small business, though we've grown to about 1,000 people, but it started on a paper napkin, right? And large businesses, right? I'm sure Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani didn't use a paper napkin, but he started putting things in his head, in a similar fashion. And that's what we're going to try to discover. What are these things you put in your head to say, let's do business, right? So big businesses use it. A lot of works of literature, if you read, I went to Oxford and it was lots of stories about how poets used to scribble on the table. Writers used to scribble on a piece of paper. They run out of the diary or they forgot carrying a diary. And same with discoveries, right? Put down a note on a paper napkin. So paper napkin is not a small thing, right? It's a perfect form factor. And if you are yet not convinced about the paper napkin plan, then some of the biggest crooks in the world, some of the biggest robberies, the heists, so lots of them in India as well, corporate frauds were done on the paper napkin. Right? So if you don't believe me, I'm sure you'll believe those who've done massive frauds, made much more money than I have, or I will ever. Right? So that's the paper napkin. Get a napkin, spread it out, fold it once, and then fold it twice. Right? And that's your canvas. That's where you're going to paint, and this is your business plan. So we're going to start now. And I'd appreciate you start, get me some paper, start doing this yourself, because this is not too complex and you'll follow it better. Once you have the paper napkin, let's go back to our stupid questions. The first stupid question is what, right? I'm assuming a lot of you are looking to start a business. A lot of you have a business. A lot of you have got a good growing business, right? I find this technique works for all 3 stages. I use a paper napkin even today, right? When we are trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to come out of this pandemic, right? Is Printo going to be really messed now that we've survived? How will we revive, right? I like to work on small pieces of paper so that so that piece of paper doesn't allow me to talk as much as my vocal cords normally allow me to do, right? So the first stupid question is what? Describe our business that we're trying to do in the fewest possible words. Right? Few is the operative word here. Right? So if we can't describe businesses in our own venture or business, I'm using the word business, right? Just for functional purpose, whatever you want to call it, right? If we can't describe it in fewer words, it's no fun. We won't be able to communicate it effectively, right? So what do we want to describe? You can't think about it. Let's say, let me give you an example, right? So let's think about what will customers buy? You want to describe it that way? You want to describe it, what value you're giving to customers, different way. Just keep it simple though. So let me walk you through the process of when we started Printo. My co-founder and I, we were thinking about this, and as the idea came into our mind, I put it down on paper and said, okay, we're going to do a chain of print shops for small businesses, right? So I'm describing the customer, I'm describing what I'm going to do. It's simple for somebody to understand. That's what we want. There are lots of details in there. What will we do in the print shop? All that stuff, right? And those details you'll keep adding, but add only a few highlights out here. You don't have to make this, you don't have to think through each one of these right now, but you want to think through the big ones of it right now. And linked to what is the other favorite question, equally stupid. But why, Macha? Why do you want to do this? And you say, hey, I'm doing this for the customer. Okay. So who is your customer? Right? And here, let's describe our main buyer. Now, this is an extremely important part. And a lot of my friends I see sometimes miss out on describing who. Now, I'm going to create this for who? There are lots of people who like it. I'm creating a design I'm creating a company which has home decor products, right? For who? Everyone here. I said, no, what do you mean by everyone? Right? Whoever's got a home. I said, okay, good. That's a good start. Whoever's got a home. And what sort of a home is this? Is this a home in the countryside? Is it a village hut? Is it something fancy in a big villa in Bangalore? No, it's like an apartment. Okay, how big is this apartment, right? Do you see this 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom? And then we start thinking. When we start thinking about our customer, who is going to be our main buyer is very important for us to visualize. And when you start visualizing that, you're forcing yourself to say, this is the person who's going to buy. There is a Jaya here who's going to buy. There is Saraswati there who will be a good customer. But Mohan, no, I don't think so. He's too young to buy. I don't think he's going to buy my product, right? So when we're thinking of small businesses for a print shop, we said, what are these small businesses? Right? Are they students? No, they're small businesses. They're not students. So we were pretty sure that we do not add value to students too much. But it's small businesses because they value their time. They want to come in, get something done quickly. They don't want to go somewhere else and stand in queue, be treated poorly just because they're not a large business. Right? So that was what made us put the what and the who of the customer together. And it's a critical part to spend a lot of time on who. This in a lot of business lingo is markets, customer segment, and blah, blah, blah. And you don't need to know all that stuff, right? Target audience. Well, this is basically our customer we're talking about. But it's important to put the customer. We know about any customer, we'll know the age group roughly. We know where they stay. You don't have to pinpoint exactly where they stay, but you can pinpoint that they'll stay in big cities. What big cities? Metros? Tier 1? Is Jaipur also something that where your customer will stay? Yeah, that's possible. Or if it's a local milk delivery service, like a friend started, his customers started with only in one apartment block in Gurgaon. That's it. That's where they stay, right? And now I will go and find similar customers like those, because in my apartment block, there are 2,000 flats and they earn about a certain amount. They can afford to buy and pay 4 rupees, 5 rupees extra per liter for the milk if I promise them fresh milk, coming from organic sources, right? So that's how you think through a customer. And I just don't want to underemphasize this, and hence I'm repeating it, because from all the pieces, the who is something which we miss out on the most in writing down, because we think, oh, customer is us. We know that person, right? So I don't want to spend too much time for it. I like to visualize my customer to the specifics of age, what do they do? And is it male, female? Is it both, right? What is their income like? Right? When you do this, it helps you also determine how many such customers exist, right? Is this about 5 customers you're talking about? And that's okay. I'm not saying that 5 customers is too bad. If you're selling a fantastic painting, and 5 versions of Mughal paintings, which will be exclusive, and you'll take 5 years to make them out, you just need 5 customers, right? And you might sell it at 10 lakhs each, right? But if you're doing something else, you may want to get many more customers. In either case, getting the customer count approximately is very important. Related is, why is this customer looking for this? It's nice, they like to buy stuff, but yes, there is something in that like to buy. Why do they like to buy? Why did this customer come into a printo store? We need to find that one insight, and then we need to verify it. So my insight was that everybody needs something in print, right? And I just could not verify it, right? Everybody needs some printing, especially small businesses. So I did a survey, right, with 120 folks, right? All my friends in the same customer segment, I thought that would fit in. They sent it to a few more, 120 people. And the survey came back that 95% of them don't want it. Now, what do? Right? You say, hey, why are we doing this? I said, hey, customers need it, and this is my gut feel. It makes sense to go and validate it again, right? So I also started going to shops and seeing what's happening, right? And I felt the customer needed it because he did not want to be treated subhuman. He's neither treated like a consumer. When you walk into a nice shop or a cafe, they say, hello, sir, how are you? In a print shop, you don't get that service, right? Nor is he treated or she treated like a big customer, corporate, where please take an appointment, come, wait in that outside reception area. When I'm free, I will call you in, right? That's the service that big guys get, right? We small guys don't get that service, right? And why shouldn't we get it? But if I go and buy a 100 rupee product from McDonald's, I get great service. So why don't I get good service at this place? So that was a kind of insight that this is why the customer needs it, right? And again, it makes sense to spend time on the why, right? Why will they buy? Right? And sometimes it helps if you put yourself in customer shoes, but most of the time it helps by observing and speaking to customers, right? And the wrong question to ask here is that why, that will you buy? Are you having a poor print experience? Wrong question to ask, right? That's a leading question. Your friends will say, yeah, man, really bad, poor printing experience, right? And you'll say, oh, wow, because they're just confirming, it's a confirmatory bias. At the same time, some people, like my friend said, no, man, I'm okay. I don't think I need this, right? I have people in my office who get it done for me. Right? So it was very discouraging as well. So we need to find the underlying reason why they will like it. Would you like, hand-painted tiles in a section of your kitchen, right? Is suppose something that you want, right? But you don't ask this question. You ask, perhaps try to find out what will make them buy this hand-painted tiles. Will it be because they want to liven up a space where they spend 30-40% of their time? And that would be somebody like me, because I like to cook, or my mom, yeah, and and say that who spends much more time. Is there a need for that, right? Then, and that's the underlying need that you want to uncover. So why did we start it? You can again write it down saying, hey, printing is very poor experience. But why? Stupid question, but you have to answer it. Because, and when people asked me this, or I asked myself, it wasn't easy to get to why. That insight came much later. It was, all the questions came, the other shopkeepers are bad, they're unprofessional. Well, I don't think so. Actually, they are better businessmen than I am. I'm first gen, right? They've been doing it for many generations. They understand customers' value much more. So it could not be that. I had other questions. They don't use good equipment. Right? But that's not really the reason why that printing is a poor experience, or why customers are going there are disappointed, right? It helped me understand what makes customers happy. And it was being treated like human beings, even though we are small businesses, right? So, and that could be an insight. Now, you could start the same business. You could start Printo again with a different insight, and you might have the same thing. That's perfectly okay. But for me, I go back to my insight every time I'm challenged, right? And while we all talk about gut feel, I've been a massive gut feel person. And I keep challenging the gut feel, because I think human tendency is not to remember the negative that we got, right? All the things that I got wrong because it was gut feel. So let's challenge the gut feel and put more and more data out there, right? So we said, what are you starting? For whom are you starting this business, right? And why are you doing it, right? So you say, why is what a lot of people in the business plan call the gap? There is an opportunity in the market. What's the opportunity gap? What do you mean opportunity gap? Why do you see this whole opportunity that exists out there? First, can you speak in English and just stop at why? Why are you doing this business? Okay, this is the reason I'm doing this business, because my customers are pretty underserved. Okay, why are they underserved is a good stupid question. Once you've got this, you say, how are you going to do this? I'm going to create this print shop for customers who feel like shit. They feel underserved. They want to get decent service, uniform staff, come in, don't want to feel cheated, that every time they come in, they get a different price. Right? Okay, how will you do this? I'll set up a shop. Good. Then I'll need machines. Okay, I need people. I myself will be the manager. I will do this. All these things start coming together, right? When you say how. This is the real meat of your what people say, what's the operating plan? This is the operating plan. This is how we'll do it, right? It's important to do how as well, because this will give you a lot of answers. And in the how, the more important part I find is, how will you sell it? Right? And that seems obvious. I'll sell it online. Really, let's try to see, how do we sell it online? Let's go to Amazon, create a reseller account. Let's try to find out what's happening, right? Oh, they take 30%, they take 20%. Oh, and it really matters on how long does it take to deliver. I don't think so. They want me to stock. Oh, shoot, I can't make on, make as and when I get an order. That doesn't work. I have to put it in shops. Yeah, that other friend Rajesh started an awesome business and he's just supplying to shops. His achars go to the shops, they keep it there. So I'm going to sell my soda water, flavored water to them as well. But unless you go to the shops, you won't realize what the margin is. You won't realize what they're looking for. And you need to do this right early on in the early business planning stage, right? How? How are you going to sell? So how will you make? How will you sell? Okay. And then comes the money question, right? Now I'm going to give a caveat out here. So I will come to those who don't want to necessarily do this for money, which is not a bad thing. But it's important to think through the money part, right? So how much is it going to cost to make? And how much is it going to cost to sell? Right? Cost to make is very simple, right? It's raw material if you're making food items to sell. For us, the raw material in printer is paper, ink that goes on, people, we'll need, because they sell. We have salespeople. We have to put up a website sometimes. All this is cost to sell. Okay? And what is the selling price? Will people pay? I know people who pay 1,000 rupees for a print. This printer people must be really making a lot of money. And that's I heard a lot about printers then. Man, Kanti Bhai in Bombay has 4 shops. And in each shop, there is a 2 crore machine. If you put up shops like this all over India, you will be like Kanti Bhai raised to 10x, 10 square. All this, which we hear, we have to put it into numbers, right? Does Kanti Bhai really sell prints for so much? And Kanti Bhai is a real person, actually, who's a friend now. He used to run a print shop. He runs a very successful print shop business in Ballad Estate in Bombay. And I learned a lot from him. So you go and say, how much is others selling for? And my best way of selling and coming up with new products is selling to a customer before I started my business itself, right? Hey, will you buy this for, how much will you pay for this, right? I'm making some customized masks because I think masks are going to remain for the next 2 years. People want masks which match with the attire. So, hey, listen, Sunita, how much will you pay for a mask? And that is a better question to ask than saying, do you think it's a good idea? Because it's free to say yes and make you feel better. No, we are entrepreneurs. We're already foolish, right? We don't want others to make us feel better. Please give us the truth. If you won't buy my mask for 1,800 rupees, please tell me today, no, that you won't pay a rupee more than 50 rupees, even if I've put a lot of nice designs on it, which is the reality about masks, by the way. Printo tried it. And we realized, I thought we'd pay 400-500 rupees per mask. I don't think we've sold more than some 10 or 20 masks, if that. And then you go back to school and say, how much is profit? Selling price minus cost price. That's what it is. Don't worry about how much machinery you needed. You know, all these things are called capital, right? You know, you invest and do that, right? Don't worry about that right now. That comes in the next one. But first worry about how much will you sell it at? And my favorite way to look at that is that what's the maximum price you can get maximum customers at? What is the maximum price at which you can get maximum customers at? So let's look at the mask. I can price an amazing mask at 2,000 rupees, hand painted, hot shot, designer, signatured by, you know, who all, right? Maybe Modi will have a signature out there, and sell it and auction it for 2,000 rupees, right? At the same time, I might not get more than 500 customers, but I want to answer the question, what is the highest price at which I'll get the maximum customers? And that price might be close to 35 rupees, right? So there are different price points for different sets of customers, which is linked to when you think about whom are you going to sell. So this is how much. When it also has another layer of how much investment, capital kitna, how much money do you need to start your business? All that stuff is the stupid question of how much to start. Okay, so let's make a list. Do I need equipment? Yeah. Do I need office? Yeah. Office, what I need interior space, I need table, chair, all that stuff. This is called investment, right? It's capital. Let's put that down and say how much, right? And you have investment is cost to start, right? Cost to start of salary for myself and stock of goods is slightly different, but do put it down in the first phase of the plan, because, you know, I need this money to start off with, because for the first 3 months, I won't be earning anything, right? So I don't want to show that I'm going in a loss, but I won't be earning. I've got some money kept aside to take care of my own food and to buy raw material, you know. Last two silly questions. I think one of them is why? Why am I doing this? Okay. And while a lot of us have you know, joined this session today because we are starting a new business, it's good time to always ask, you know, am I doing this for more money? And there's no wrong answer, right? Am I going to make more money? My general side note is, you're going to do this to make more money. There are, you know, it's been proven that entrepreneurship is not the safest way to make more money, right? There are much better ways to make more money. But there was a time, and there are certain sectors where the only way to make more money is to do entrepreneurship, right? So is this because more money? Is it because I'm not getting a job? Nobody wants to hire me? Very true for me. I actually didn't want to start a business, right? I didn't get a job, right? And I give up very easily if somebody rejects me, right, for a job. I don't give up easily if somebody rejects me for selling, right? I can go and sell a print to anybody, A4 size, black and white, 2 rupees. Okay, I'll make it 175. Let's talk. Look at my paper, blah, blah. But if you reject me as a person, I somehow could not take it, right? So I started looking for I didn't get a job, started thinking about a business already in my side, right? Why am I doing this? Sounds cool. Entrepreneurship sounds cool. That's the poorest idea, poorest reason out there, you know. So go a little deeper into that. Why does it sound cool? You know, I think I'm good at it. That's why it sounds cool. Or maybe I really like doing this. I love serving customers. I love opening a cafe and a restaurant because I love making food, right? Or why am I doing this? I need to make an impact. I need to save lives. I need to empower artisans staying in some part of India. And I really need to do that. Right? And then you have to think about, is my investment going to be greater than the profits I'm going to make? If it is, then you don't want to do this if you're trying to make money. You may yet want to do this if you're trying to make an impact. There are different ways to do this, and it's not for this session, but we can talk about it in Q&A. Now, again, the why question. Why am I doing it? Why should I do it from a monetary perspective? This is the key part of your business plan, which is the end of it, which says, will this business work? Right? At least in theory, will it work? So you'll have to show in theory that, are you making enough money on a monthly basis? Are you selling and buying? And is your buying less than what you're selling for? Simple, right? And then you'll have to say, hey, but I put a capital investment of 1 lakh and first year or 10 lakhs. First year I made a loss of 50K because 6 months just went in getting people together. Then I was doing this. Then I was finding customers. Then I got things wrong. Then I fixed it. By the time the year went, I started selling, but I yet made a loss of 50,000 rupees. No problem, right? What happened in the first year? You made a return of minus 50%, right? Just put the number there. But it's just good to project it out. What do you think you'll do in 2 years or 3 years? How much money will you need? That investment remains the same, which you put in year 1, right? So you want to put some sort of a financial number here, right? It's basic stuff, right? Year 2, how much do you think you'll make? 50,000. Okay. Whatever you think you'll make, you normally want to divide it by half. If you think you'll make 4 lakhs in year 3, just play safe. Say you'll make 2 lakhs. It's just yourself. Remember one thing I've written out there: profit after salary. Right? You see that? It's a profit after salary. Yeah. Because when you start off your business, you pay everybody. You don't pay yourself. And that is actually something that's going in. So you don't have to pay yourself a fancy salary, but at least pay yourself that for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, whatever it takes. So profit means all costs, including salary. Does not mean capital investment costs, right? They're slightly different. I know this is a lot of simplicity and stupid questions. What do I do with this return percentage? Don't worry about it too much, right? Just ask yourself a question. If I took this 10 lakh rupees and put it in a bank, right? Or put it in some mutual funds, will I make more money, less money? If you make significantly more money, that will only happen if you are going to make minus or 0 or 2-3%, right? For continuously 2-3 years, when you project it out, maybe you want to relook at that business, right? Or get some expert opinion in, get another friend to share. Finally, you could also measure impact, right? But you have to do the numbers. Don't run away from the numbers. Do the numbers money and say, hey, but I'm not doing this for money. So my investment will never come back. I'm doing this for life saved, jobs provided. Good. Put a number down there. It cannot be wishy-washy that I'm going to help artisans sell more by creating this online website. Let's talk about how many artisans. What are we trying to talk about here? And how much per artisan? Is it 2,000 rupees a year? No problem. Put the number down. It gives you some picture and painting of what you're trying to build, right? And then say investment is greater than profit. No problem. Let's go and find a grant, right? Because my costs are more than income. Because I'm not setting up this business to just get money. I'm trying to make an impact. And there are lots of excellent businesses, right? Organizations which do this, right? Great foundations run by fantastic leaders who do this, right? So you get grants from patrons, from various societies, but you got to be aware that this is it, right? And if it's not going to be a profit making, if it's not supposed to be, don't try to pretend it's profit making, right? So we should be clear about our goals. Now we put all this together on a plan, unfold it. What, who, how much, why should I in terms of money? And that ends the paper napkin plan. And I've exceeded my time limit of what I'd set myself by about 4 minutes. So I'm going to park it out here and start looking to get questions, right, out here. I'm going to go back on the paper napkin so you can absorb where you want to start questions and start thinking of which part of your business can you not answer. Which is the stupid question out here which is bothering you the most, which you feel, no, I don't need to answer this for my business, right? And start thinking about that. So I'm happy to take questions now.
Awesome. Thanks, Manish, for this wonderful walk through the paper napkin approach. Very interesting. We have a couple of questions. Himanshu Kohli is asking, is it necessary to present the detailed business plan during the pitch?
So, yeah, Himanshu, thanks for asking that question. Now, just because I don't know the demographics of this group, a pitch is something that you present to either, investors, mostly investors, right? So to do you see, at the end of it, if you're an investor, you're just looking for same simple questions, right? You're saying, what are you trying to do? Himanshu, right? So what are you trying to do, Himanshu? What's your business? Explain it to me. How are you going to do this, right? Oh, I'm an engineer. I know software technology. I'm going to build this awesome product. And look, I already have a prototype, right? So you want to give as much details in terms of in the conversation, as much as the investor wants. But it also depends on the state of your business, right? So you're just about to start your business. You have nothing to show, right? So the investor is also not looking to get more and more data on your plan, because more data does not necessarily give confidence. The investor doesn't know you. The investor doesn't know anything about that business. So they're just saying, mostly you've gone there with a reference, or otherwise the investor is kind of assessing you. Himanshu seems like an okay guy. He's come from this place. He seems to have a reference of the chap. He seems earnest. He seems to know a little bit of what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about, but he seems to know. And secondly, this industry that he's talking about, which is the home decor industry, seems very interesting. It is a big industry. That's what the investor is betting on in the very early stage. So just these two things are it. But as you go mature, like if you're running a company, you've got like 2-3 crores of revenue, you have more data. You have to give more and more details. But I like to get questions from investors saying that you tell me what you want, right? I'll just give you a bit. And that helps me guide it to what the investor wants. That's it. Yeah. Next, please. If you, yeah. I hope that answers the question. I know you don't have opportunity to say yes, it does, or no, that was a crappy answer. But you can leave as many comments out there, and I promise to read through them.
Absolutely. I think, Manish, you did answer it. You did talk about this tailgate approach of building the plan based on the stage of the startup, the stage of the business, right? There's another question from Sridhar Raj. How did the indirect competition in this fragmented market with mom and pop shops impact you in downturn when pursue things tightened?
Yeah. So purse strings tightened, perhaps. Yeah. So I think we got pretty much screwed, right? We are just completely messed. Right? I always plan to have some money in the bank if our business goes down by 25%, 30%. But we never planned for 100%. And I think to some extent, I take the blame for that, right? Because these events can happen, and you need to have enough in the bank for that. But luckily, we didn't have to let go of anybody in our team, right? We just stuck together. So that's how we managed, right? Lots of businesses are going to manage okay, manage badly. Fundamentally, I think every situation is unique. And I would have at some time said, if a business is well managed, or if it's poorly managed, it will surely go down. And I don't think so. You can yet be a poorly managed business in such a scenario, but because your specific case in this storm is, your ship is in a certain alignment with the winds, that you might survive. But coming to overcrowded markets, right? And a lot of y'all, and that's one, I don't think you should be worried about commodity markets at all, because commodity markets prove one thing, which you never have to prove to anybody, including yourself, that there is demand, right? If you say, I'm going to start growing rice and, selling rice, right? The one question you'll never get is, who's going to eat rice, man? Are you crazy? What a stupid business, right? I didn't have to face that question, right? At least in my eyes. So there are pros and cons, but you'll get the question, why is your rice different from the other guy's rice, right? So you want to answer that about crowded markets. And if you have differentiation, you can survive some of these storms.
Okay. Yeah. Sridhar also asked one more question. Did you draw inspiration from Kinko's and Mailbox when you started Printo?
This is so funny that when I was working with my younger sister to get the logo designed, right? And she created the logo for Printo, and she said, which colors? And I said, any color, but don't put that blue and red color, because I'd spent some time in the US, lived there for a few years, and because that was the Kinko's color there, right? And my short answer is no. Because in UK, there were better print shops, which were Kinko's. When I experienced it, was always document printing, right? Xerographic, prints. While what I experienced in the UK while living in UK were commercial printing. So the same equipment had moved on. Digital printing had come on to commercial printing. I was more inspired by Pronta print in UK and Vista print, right, in US. And I thought that our business would meet somewhere there. Products in a commodity business would do something, right? So that was my inspiration, really.
Okay. There's a question from Shalini Singh. She's asking, your business is scalable despite being niche. In this business plan, how do you convince investors?
Yeah. Hi, Shalini. How are you? Yeah, I don't think if your business is scalable, you need to convince investors. So let me make a confession. A lot of my investors asked me, and most of them, almost all of them, rejected me. That is the nature of the game. You'll only get selected by one person. And they always ask me this scalability question. It's a great question, right? And how will you scale? It's a difficult business to scale. And I said, no, it's not. But the truth is, it is. Right? If your business is easy to scale, folks are, investors are smart enough, right? I may not love them, but I can grant that some of them are smart. And if it is scalable, you will do it and you won't face these questions. But the job of an entrepreneur is to make that business scalable, right? To make the unscalable scalable. Then there's fun. If it was scalable already from day one, 20 people would be doing it already. Right? It's a very scalable piece to do and deploy and everything. But, it's like a website. They said, hey, how are you going to scale just imagine the first news website, right? I had the good fortune of working for perhaps the first news websites in India called rediff.com, and said they never had a scalability issue. And they were never asked that question, right? But they had different issues, right? So I think that, but if somebody started a physical newspaper, it's a valid question to ask, how the hell are you going to scale, right? And you better have valid answers for that, So just to come back, I don't think Printo is easily scalable, right? So we are yet till today working on scalability plans, right? And the only change I've made is that I've stopped explaining to customers, to investors. If I've stopped meeting investors, but if I do, I say, hi, scale nahi hota hai, right? It's I've only got it to 40 shops, but to get to 400 is tough, right? So it is. I'm sorry, I can't answer the question in terms of insight, but I think if it's scalable, you'll know how to convince the investor.
Okay. Thanks. So there's a question from Ramesh Kumar Krishnan. The projections mostly not go as planned and various factors involved with challenges. How one should keep balance on competing requirements and make the business viable?
Yeah. And that's a great question. And, so thanks for asking that. I think the only thing wrong with that question is the use of the term mostly, right? I would replace it with the term always. Right? And, I've not made a single plan which has not been wrong. Right? And in my case, it's always been wrong because I've over-projected. So because it's, when you don't know anything, you're just projecting it, right? You say, hey, that investment number on that paper napkin, that 20% is not, or 10% not good enough. You're planning it on a paper napkin, 10% not good enough. So what do? You just, on that Excel sheet, change the damn investment number to reduce it, or increase profit or sales just on the Excel sheet, right? And not because it's in the real world. So this happens a lot in the early stage, right? And my response to that is that you need to be as careful of it as possible. Be as cognizant that you will get the number wrong, right? And if you're going to get the number wrong, you already know my answer is wrong, right? You'll build in certain things which will check it every now and then, right? But if you say, this is it, it's done, 10 lakhs, and I'm sorted, right? I'm going to make 20% in year 3, right? You will just keep yourself foolish instead of keeping yourself foolish and hungry and saying, hey, no, I need to find the right answer, right? So you want to be hungry about the right answer and do that. And don't try to go away from the fact that that this is a mistake you are making in the first place, right? as long as you're cognizant, you'll fix it. I think there's no other way to do this. If you're setting off on a path and saying, I don't know how to get to, get to Bombay from Goa, right? Then you'll keep asking, right? People on the way, hey, is this fine? Is it? But if you say, no, I know, yeah, I might go wrong, but I know, and I'll take off. And then you're taking off in the wrong direction and saying, no, I'll get there somehow, right? It's as stupid as that, but we don't do it. We don't see it that way. And I've done the biggest of these mistakes.
Okay, interesting. We have a question on from Manjulika Pramod, and she's asking, what should one do if they are not able to answer all the questions on the paper napkin plan? Are we not ready yet, or should the business idea needs to be thought over again?
Yeah, I think the paper napkin plan is a thinking process, right? So it's helping you put a business plan together, right? And I think it's important to answer all of them. You may not have a lot of depth in it, right? But there is no question there about what, why, how, that you should not have an answer to. The job of these questions, stupid questions, is to make you think. So by definition, you're not going to have a ready answer, right? And there are answers which you may not have even later in the business, but it's important to think through and put some answer there which you say is reasonably satisfying, right? Like, I yet don't have the answer of why I started Printo. Right? Means why, really why? Because my other option was to start a healthy dessert sweet shop, Indian sweet shop, right? Because I love sweets. I'm passionate about it. I just used to go through tons and tons of sweets. And I said, man, that's not good. It's unhealthy. It's not going to really work out. And let's go to this boring printing thing. And my other real answer was I had nothing to do. And, I said, I got to start something, right? But at the time, I also said that this is reality, right? I don't have a job. I need to do this. I think I like this space. I think I can add value. And I'm going in with that, right? Over a period of time, I found my calling in there was actually customer service, right? But I can't tell you I did this because I love customer service. I did not at that time. It's only when I got into this, I found my calling. So don't get everything in detail, right? But I do think you have to answer these. If you can't answer these 5 questions, we got something wrong.
Awesome. So we have a question from Bhavna Sharma. And how do you decide when an idea is business worthy or something to be pursued as a consulting gig? For reference, I desire to offer creative solutions using specific material for the home decor industry. An idea worth calling business, or will it fall under personal consulting gig?
Yeah. I think, firstly, Bhavna is my sister. And she's the one who designed the Printo logo. So, hi, Bhavana. We're not in the same city. But Bhavana, thanks for asking this question. A lot of folks, including very close friends, fall into this. And I think it is important to do this for your own business, right? So even if you're doing your creative consulting gig, it's your own business. It's a one-man business. It's important to know what are you doing? Okay, I'm a designer, right? I'm trying to design. What are you trying to design, and who for? Okay, I'm designing for small businesses who's setting up stuff, or I'm designing for mothers or ladies at home because men don't like to see it, see a nice decorated home. So I don't want to deal with them. But what sort of women are you trying to? Okay, perhaps young mothers. So, you come in and narrow things down and start developing your thought process on what your design really matters to whom, right? And so I would follow the same process, for any of these. In fact, all the more important for individual consulting units to answer this. And I've found that over the years, some of the best consultants I've met, right, even business consultants or training consultants, they are bang on. They're so sharp. Within 5 minutes, they know this is not my customer. Manish can't afford me, or he doesn't have that situation at work as yet. His business is too small or too big. So it's important to put this down and then keep revising this. So that's the advantage of a creative consultant. You can keep revising this every 6 months, right? A business, it gets a little difficult once you set up a shop and say, hey, I don't think the shop was really needed.
Yeah. Thanks. So we have a lot of questions around, how to raise funds. I would encourage all the participants to ask specific questions regarding this topic, and anything outside this topic, we take these questions and get these questions answered and publish it on our blog. Let's continue with that, with the rest of the questions. We have a question from Shilpa Manish, and she's saying, I did my customer interviews and the feedback was awesome. That my service was needed and would be great. But when I go to sell my MVP to them, they are not ready to buy. How do I convert them to a sale, and how do I get sales to validate my customer segment?
Firstly, Shilpa, congratulations for actually going that path, right? And trying to sell the MVP rather than showing the MVP and say, hey, remember I spoke to you about this product which you said you wanted? Here's the product that looks, what do you think about it? And they say, hey, wow, what an awesome product. But you did one better. You went and sold it. You tried to sell it and they're not buying. So congrats for that. But this is now where the creative process begins, right? Saying, why are they not buying it, right? Because unless you ask for something from the customer, you will not get the truth, right? Or for any one of us, right? As young kids, by growing up, Dad, I know you love me. He says, yes, I love you. I'll give you anything that you want. Good. Papa, can I have a motorbike? Right? That's when, the tire hits the road literally. And he says, no. But that, right? You can't have that. So you don't know the real value of the words till you ask for something and you're asking for money. So I would go back and take that and sit down and say, what is it that you were looking to get in this? I'll have an open conversation with this customer and say, what were you going to do with this? Then say, is it money that you don't like? So in my framework, when a product's not working, it's, is it too expensive? That's very easy to say, hey, listen, Shilpa, if I give you my product for 50% off, you think it makes sense for you? And the customer say, yeah, now it makes sense. But you were asking 3,000 rupees for this, didn't make sense. So is it price? Is it some features that you just don't like about the product? And don't ask them what feature would you like. That goes down another wrong path, mostly in most industries. But say, is this not of value to you? Is it a shitty product or is it too expensive, right? The third reason why products don't sell is because they don't know about the product, right? So I see these three reasons for products not selling. It's price, they don't know about it, or they say, I don't care about it, man, I don't need this really. So through this experiment, eliminate price. That's easiest to eliminate. And then start getting into the other layers. And you've eliminated awareness because they know about it, you're going to them. And now start getting into questions about what about this product do you not like, right? And more difficult questions to evolve it. But it's a great process. Don't stop here. Yeah, start here.
Awesome. So, we'll probably end the session with, by taking last two questions. So we have a question from Rashmi. I'm running a small business of health breads. 6 months into lockdown, selling certainly is a challenge. How do you think the approach should be? We have 10% positive feedback on the product quality. And ours is a highly perishable product range, and we are looking at direct to home deliveries. Any thoughts would be highly appreciated.
Yeah, I know I'm no expert in any of these segments, but I do tell you that health is a fantastic segment right now to be in, especially if you're in one of the big metros, right? And Printo itself is trying to figure out a lot of things about getting it direct to customers. Now, getting stuff direct to customers comes with a very high cost, right? It's a cost of delivery when the customer doesn't have to come in there. But if you build it into your business plan, saying, okay, now my bread costs 120 rupees, but Dunzo, I don't know if you're from Bangalore or Gurgaon, and Dunzo is going to charge me 30 rupees. That's not much left, right? So talk to your customers, right? Say, hey, I've got this problem, right? Share it with them. If you have a smaller cohort of customers, most of our answers come from two people, our customers and ourselves, right? So just the fact that you have pointed this problem out, right? The answer is not with me. I don't know your business. It'll be foolish of me to suggest that I can give you something. But I think what worked for us is keeping on looking at the economics, going to customers, figuring it out, what can be done, speaking to 10, 15, 20 customers, and getting it out there. But it's a great business. So there's demand. That's sorted, right? Now you want to just sell more and more and speak to more and more customers. I love the big basket model, which was all about starting with one building block. Milk Basket, which is the French company I was referring to, also started in one building block and started expanding. So then you get to know your customers and the reasons much more.
Okay. Manish, can we take two last questions?
I only start having beer at 5:30. So
okay.
No yeah.
So we'll let you go another 5 minutes. Sridhar is asking, were any specific deliberate steps in market positioning taken to address a perception of expensive in a price-sensitive market?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question. I was chatting about this with one of my colleagues today on saying that printer is perceived expensive, right? And at the same time, my way to look at it is that if a customer if 60% of the customers don't tell me that you're expensive, I'm pricing it wrong, right? Which means I'm leaving value on the table. So being perceived expensive is not necessarily a bad thing. It has to be, there's value to it. And then it ups you, it forces you to increase the value that you're adding, right? So I don't look at, maybe sales as much as I look at customer service, right? Records from my perspective. That's what matters to me. Having said that, over the years, the realities also come and hit me that if you want to really scale, right, you want to drop this perception of expensive in India. It does not work, right? You wanted to keep one print shop which does awesome print, keep the perception of expensive, and they say, oh, printo expensive hai, par kaam kar denge, right? They'll get it done, right? And then you keep building on the shop. But if you want to go to every town and every city, you'll get hit with this very soon. So beyond a certain point, you might want to, so when you're trying to build expense, you're trying to justify value, of course, saying I'm good at this and good at this. My take on that is don't try to justify value. If a customer asks me, why are you so expensive? We have failed. If a customer says, go to Printo, they are a little expensive, but I'm okay. But if he's asking me, they've not experienced the service. And when they experienced it, they didn't find it worth the while. And hence they said it's expensive. So question your service level, right? And then secondly, question, maybe at this service level, the price that I'm charging is not fair. It's a tough one for an entrepreneur, right? It took me a long time to swallow that pride and say, this is how it will be, and say, okay, won't be. Luckily in retail, you get slapped right away by the lack of sales. So you don't have to, customers just tell you the truth right away.
Right. There's actually a very interesting leading question to this previous question you answered, Manish. Should we base our profits based on volume or target audience?
Should we base our profits on
profit margin calculations based on volume or target audience?
I'm not sure I understand this, right? You're saying volume or target audience, but the target audience will provide you to the volume. So maybe what I'm not understanding is target audience is exactly when we say target audience, let me clarify, is your customer base, okay? It does not mean a small segment of your customer. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. Target audience is your customers, right? Now you want to figure out, you want a wide target audience, you want to target to larger people, then you need to lower price and volume. And therein lies your business and what you're all about. For example, my co-founder, she said, hey, Manish, this is stupid. I don't want to do this business which you're like opening new shops in every new city. I'm done with this, right? I want to do business where I can spend a lot of time with each customer, add value to them, right? And I think there are some great print shops in Bangalore, in all the cities that we are, which do that. So there's no wrong answer. That's why when you say why, I said, for me, impact was important. I wanted to be a big shot chain, right? And unfortunately, that was it. I wanted to do something which is more meaningful. And I don't mean to sound, either put down entrepreneurs or sound altruistic in any way. I just thought I want to create a big brand because that's what I wanted. I liked the big brand to be built, right? It was challenging enough. It was a good problem and good to solve. But my co-founder said, hey, no, I think there's a better way to create a big brand. and which is the non-volume way, right? So we had different positions. We actually fed off each other extremely well and got a lot of good things into that business, right? So I would say this is a key question. It can't be just answered, and it's a good question to ask. Do I want to be the big guy with lots of shops? Do I want to be the one guy who's very happy but gives awesome service?
Awesome, Manish, and it was extremely engaging. And we have several questions from the audience. So what we would do is we'll take all these questions and then collate it and send it back to you. If you could answer anything of those questions for us, we'll put it up on blog. Thank you so much for your time, and especially when you're there in Goa, taking time for NICE is a great gesture. We really appreciate that. Thank you, Manish, for your time today.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed this. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
So thank you, participants, for taking time to join and attend our session today. I'm just going to quickly wind up the session by announcing the next sessions that we have planned for you guys. The next session that is coming up is going to take place on 11th of November. And it's going to be an Ask Me Anything session. It's going to be very interactive with two great stalwarts in the food and beverages industry. Gautam Gupta, who is a CEO of Paradise Biryani, and he'll be joined with Vaitishwaran, who's a co-founder of Again Drinks, and also founder of India Plaza. Both of them are veterans in the food and beverages industry. They're going to be talking about their perspectives on food and beverage industry and what are the things that they see as trends, their opportunities, their learnings to all of us. So we look forward to your participation. Like I said, you would be receiving an email with a feedback link. It'll be great to have feedbacks from you guys. On that note, all the sessions. On that note, I'm just going to end the session. Thank you so much for participating. Stay safe. See you next week.